Moving on to section 5.7, graphing inequalities into variables. We already have the steps written out here for you. Step 1, write the inequality in slope-intercept form. Step 2, graph the inequality with the y-intercept and the slope. So graph the line like you normally would. Step 3, less than or greater than means that your line, when you create your line, is going to be dashed. Less than or equal to or greater than or equal to means the line, when you draw your line, is going to be solid. Then you have to decide which side of the line you're going to shade. If it's greater than or equal to, you're going to shade above. If it's less than or equal to, you're going to shade below. Hopefully this will make more sense as we go through some examples here. So, example 1. It says y is greater than or equal to x minus 5. Well, first of all, this is already in slope-intercept form. So since it's already in slope-intercept form, I don't need to put it in slope-intercept form. I can graph it just as it is. So how would I normally graph y is equal to x minus 5? Well, I would go to my y-intercept, which is negative 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I would apply my slope, which is up 1 over 1, right? Because this is a 1 in front. Up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. Then I need to decide if I'm going to have a dashed or a solid line. Remember, less than or equal to and greater than or equal to means solid, and then less than or greater than is dashed. So in this case, my equation is greater than or equal to, so I am going to graph a solid line. Then you have to decide if you're going to shade above or below. If it's greater than, you're going to shade above, but if it's less than, you're going to shade below. And you can kind of just go off of which way that line is angling, if it's above or below. Well, in this case, it says y is greater than or equal to x minus 5, so I'm going to shade above. The most important part of this idea of this graph is what the graph means. What this means, any point in the shaded region, or in this case also, or on the line, can be plugged in and satisfy the inequality. Any single coordinate that I pick in this shaded section, or in this case that's on the line because it's a solid line, I can plug into this inequality and it will work. It will satisfy the inequality. It will make a true statement. For example, I could plug in 0, 0. If I plug in 0, 0, the coordinate 0, 0, my x is 0 and my y is 0, I get 0 is greater than or equal to 0 minus 5. 0 is greater than or equal to negative 5. Is that true? Yes, because any point that I pick in that shaded area is going to make the statement true. Moving on to example 2, graphing y is greater than x minus 2. Well, my y-intercept is negative 2, and my slope is 1 over 1 again. Up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. Now we have to decide if it's a dashed or a solid line. In this case, it's going to be a dashed line because it does not have an equals with it. From here, I need to decide if I want to shade above or below, and that all depends on which way my sign is facing. Since it is facing towards the y, it's saying that y is greater than x minus 2. So I'm going to shade above for greater than. Let's go ahead and do example 4. Example 4 says 4x plus 2y is less than or equal to 10. So first of all, we need to graph, but we can't graph this because we can't graph an equation in standard form. We need to get it into slope-intercept form. In order to get something into slope-intercept form, we need to solve for y. And we are going to do that first by subtracting 4x from both sides. This should be second nature at this point because we've been doing this so much. This cancels, and we get 2y is less than or equal to negative 4x plus 10. Again, the only reason that I put the negative 4x first is to make sure that we have our equation or inequality in slope-intercept form. Now divide everything by 2. And I get y is less than or equal, looks like this is going to be to negative 2x plus 5. Now we have the inequality in slope-intercept form. So from here, I can graph the inequality. My y-intercept is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And my slope is negative 2 over 1. Okay, so that means I'm going to go down 1, 2, and right 1. Down 1, 2, right 1, and right 1. Now this one, because it has the equal sign with it, is going to be a solid line. If it was just less than, it would be a dashed line, but because it can equal the line, that means we can also pick a point on the line to satisfy the inequality. Then we need to decide if we need to shade above or below. Well, since y is less than, think less than lower, you are going to shade below the line that you graphed. So this is basically saying any coordinate that you pick in this shaded section, including all the stuff over here, can satisfy this inequality. Any single point in the shaded area will satisfy the inequality.